Alright everybody, welcome to We Are Change East Bay News. I'm Manny and this is
Greg Fernandez Jr.
and we're here to bring you the latest news. I'm sure each and every single one of you have heard about the terrorist Edward Snowden, the terrorist who leaked out NSA documents.
But he said he did nothing wrong.
Well, of course he didn't do anything wrong. So that's what we're going to talk about today and see.
Seems like a nice guy.
And try to figure out if this is a controlled release or if it's a legitimate release and a true patriot actually trying to make a difference in the world. Because it's on everyone's mind and we're living in a literal police state, I think it's very important for us to talk about the NSA leaks and what was leaked out and what that means to you and I. And a lot of people don't realize that when you have a government that spies on you, they're literally creating a dossier on every single citizen in the country, where they can use it against you for blackmail, fraud, whatever. They have all your passwords, they have all your bank account records, they have all your transactions on file, they know everywhere you shop, they know every single person you're talking to. So if they decided to blackmail you and you're running for Congress, well, they might have recorded that phone call conversation that you had with your friend who was a female, which is not that kind of friend, but she's just your friend, and they're going to use that against you. So there's a lot of things that they can do with the system, especially when, like I said, they're creating dossiers on the entire American people. I mean, what if you visited a website where you wanted to learn about communist Russia? Does that mean that you're an automatic commie? Will the government classify you as a communist sympathizer and a supporter of the communist dictatorship in China?
Probably.
Or what if you're looking up the Nazi regime and trying to learn about how Hitler took over and controlled, Germany? Would they flag you as a fascist sympathizer? Would they flag you as a neo-Nazi skinhead?
Yeah.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you have an NSA program, which is just itching for a reason to raid your house and get into your private space. The sky's the limit for these criminals. And a lot of people are debating whether or not these leaks were done on purpose and intentional, but we're yet to find out. So I'm going to go ahead and let Greg take over the floor here, because I have a tendency to go on and on and on and on. So I'll let you take it from here.
Well, that's good. Let's get a little back and forth going here, because this whole case does seem staged. It really looks staged, and it looks like.
Do you believe the polls are real? There was a recent poll where they said that 56% of Americans support their phones, their private life.
I wasn't polled. Nobody polled me.
I wasn't
they didn't
polled
poll
either.
You
Were you
either,
polled?
So,
How many of you out there? How many of the viewers out there were polled?
That poll doesn't speak for me. I don't want the government wiretapping anybody, even the people that I don't like on this earth. I wouldn't want the government wiretapping them. So
I mean, what do you have to hide?
that's the whole thing. What do I have to hide? It's no one's business. And that's where the right to the privacy, that's where that comes in.
Wait,
because I have the right to keep the government out of my life. So I don't want the government listening in to my life.
Right.
Without me knowing it.
So in the land of the free and the home of the brave, that being our motto, worldwide, known worldwide, how is it that we're free?
Well, because that's what makes us the land of the free and the home of the brave, because we see what our government is doing, and we sit here and we fight it, and we talk, and we try to get people to really see that this is wrong. Because without that evil presence there, we would have nothing to fight, and there wouldn't be any point in us being the land of the free and the home of the brave. That's what makes us who we are, by what we do. So the fact that we have to continue to fight for freedom. You don't have freedom, you have to fight for it, and you have to declare it. You have to declare your own freedom. No one is going to give it to you, but you have those rights there for you here in this country.
So the right to say no and the right to not comply is your patriotic duty. It's your God-given right. It's your birthright. If someone's saying that, Manny, your skin's brown, you're no longer human, do I have to comply with that law that says I'm not human?
Right.
No,
So,
I'm not going to comply with that law. So if these laws saying that we're no better than animals that need to live in a cage and be constantly surveyed, how is it that we're free?
well, that's the whole thing. And so this this guy did nothing wrong. This
So the
Snowden guy, he did nothing wrong. So
the act of whistleblowing is patriotic, in other words. And I support that notion. And a lot of people out there, you know, not a lot, but there's a handful of people that say, Manny, you're supporting the terrorists. You're supporting Al Qaeda. You're letting them get away with things in the dark and letting them do what they do. Well, you know what stops Al Qaeda? It's not wiretaps. It's called good police work.
But here's a question. Why did this kid, who had only been there for 3 months, take files
Well, his
and
personal...
then flee, leak them to a newspaper, and find himself in Hong Kong in a hotel room?
Right,
This,
so let's...
This is a weird story.
So let's look at the current situation in the United States.
Why is he there? What is he doing in Hong Kong? And did he take those secrets there?
Well, see,
That's what it sounds
he
like.
probably already knew. I mean, these secrets are already known to the Chinese government. These secrets are already known to the British government. These secrets are known to the Russian government.
So they just
They
might
all
have paid
know-
him to give him.
I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road yet.
I'm
but
just saying,
The
we don't
road
know.
I'm going to go down at this point, based on what I understand, and you ask the question, why did he do this? And if this statement is true, and this is what he said.
No,
No,
I
but
understand why
but
he
yeah, right.
did it. I
No,
don't
but I'm
I
actually...
don't understand what he's doing.
Well, no, I'm going to quote
in
what
Hong Kong right
he
now.
actually said, and I'm going to get into
Okay.
why he's in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Well, what he said, his reason for the leaks, this is just paraphrase. There's actually a little bit more to this, but it basically sums up him saying, I can't allow the U.S. government to destroy privacy and basic liberties, quote unquote. And privacy is a basic liberty. Without privacy, we're not American anymore. We're now Stasi Germany. We're now communist Cuba. Where you have a Chavano on every corner checking and making sure you're eating squid and doing what you got to do. I don't even like squid. Like Scarface said. You know what I'm saying? It's turning into a surveillance police state far greater than George Orwell. So if this person is legitimate and his heart is legit, granted he could be
Well, he did a good thing,
leak.
right? He did a good thing.
right, he did a good thing. His cause is noble, but my logic in terms of why he ran to Hong Kong was because Hong Kong is more free than the United States, unfortunately, but they don't have guns, but there are a lot more freedoms over there.
But isn't that China? I mean, isn't that
Hong
under
Kong is
China right
an
now?
autonomous region.
Come on, let's.
Well, on paper,
So
Hong Kong is autonomous and it's not ruled by China. It's just it's kind of like
Vietnam. It's right there.
well, no, it's
Of
kind of
course
well, no, it's like Leon and the states of Spain. Spain, well, the nation of Spain and the states are broken up into autonomous regions, where they govern themselves, but in times of war, they all unite to
Sounds like
defend
they're
the
still
country.
under China to me. I don't know.
Well, probably.
You know.
Well, of course, they're
Kuwait,
if anyone were to invade Hong Kong,
Cuba.
China would be the one to back them up. So that's how the relationship is, but it's still an autonomous region. There's capitalism going on there. It's not monopoly capitalism like China, where you have state-sponsored corporations that they can only exist, whereas in Hong Kong you can have private enterprise.
It's almost like a
But it's-
global port, you know.
Yeah, but it's still it's an autonomous
mixing pot.
it's an autonomous state within a nation, and the nation is China, but the state is Hong Kong. It's not a city; it's a city-state.
It's its
A
own-
lot of people.
It's almost like a country. It's
Well,
almost
that's
like
what a
its own
city.
country.
That's what a city-state is. A lot of people don't. The viewers out there, I'm sure a lot of you know. I know you know, but a lot of the viewers, some of the viewers out there might not understand what a city-state is. The Vatican is a city-state. Hong Kong is a city-state. Washington D.C. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one, but that is also another city-state. It's a corporation within a country. It's its own in actuality, it's more or less the 51st state of America. It's the District of Columbia. It's its own sovereign entity. It's like a state. But again, the reason why I think that he ran to Hong Kong is because of the extreme persecution of whistleblowers in the United States, as we've seen with Bradley Manning. If I was working for I'm gonna try to put myself in this person's shoes. I work in IT, so I understand the technical aspects of some of what he's doing and what's going on there. At my job, I'm I'm an IT manager, so I can transparently monitor and track and see every single thing the company's employees are doing. This myth of, oh yeah, the admins can't see it. I can see everything. I can see every single website my employees are looking at. I can see every single email. I can see every single phone call, how long the phone calls, the duration of the phone calls. If there's a voicemail, I have access to every single voicemail within the entire company. So basically, with this PRISM program that Edward Snowden exposed, was that for the United States, but not for corporations. See, corporate security, of course, if you're running a corporation or a business, every single thing that happens on your internet connection, you're liable for. So if an employee's downloading, something they shouldn't be downloading, and the authorities show up, you're the one that's responsible for that because you let them do it. So as IT administrators, we got to make sure that our employees are not, quote unquote, downloading pirated movies, quote unquote, pirated videos, quote unquote, child porn, things of that nature. So it's our responsibility to make sure that that's not happening. So what the NSA did was, because this is the United States Incorporated, 1789, USA Inc. Actually, no, 1889, 1789. I always get the dates mixed up. But regardless, the United States is a corporation. There's Universal Commercial Code, Uniform Commercial Code, and then there's the United States Constitution. The NSA operates under Uniform Commercial Code, so they treat the entire United States as a corporation. Same as China. Everyone thinks China is this communist regime, but in actuality, China as a whole is just a corporation, this gigantic China Inc., where they compete against the world. It's a command and control structure. In the United States, we have, quote unquote, an open free market where anyone can do whatever they want. The government doesn't tell you what to grow or produce, but we've seen a rapid shift in that, where government gives subsidies and welfare to select corporations, whereas other corporations hurt. So it's not a level playing field. So this Uniform Commercial Code, over time, has constantly trampled over the Constitution. So NSA policy and NSA laws and whatever, programs they have going on don't tend to not follow the Constitution, especially the Fourth Amendment, where you have the right to privacy, and basically no one can search and seize your person, your property, your personal property. You have the right to also not self-incriminate yourself, which is the Fifth Amendment. Again, that's goes back to the whole, if they're reading your emails and they're monitoring your chats, they can misconstrue what you're saying and use that as incriminating evidence against you, thus violating the Fifth Amendment. So,
well, yeah, and as they're doing that, as they're watching all these people who aren't doing anything wrong,
they can make
the real terrorists and the real people, that it was probably intended for, are still gonna be out there doing this, right. And chances are you're gonna find some of those people right there in our government.
Right. And I really didn't get into it too deeply, but if I was Edward Snowden, and I've seen what the Obama administration and the United States government has done to whistleblowers, even looking at the IRS scandal as it's coming out, the whistleblowers for that scandal, you can tell they're scared. They're intimidated. They're afraid for their life. We have a gangster government that can literally kill you. Obama has a hit list, and I'm pretty sure that Edward Snowden is at the top of that list. We're getting close to the end of this segment. I'm Manny from Interchange East Bay. I'm with
Greg Fernandez,
and we'll see you on the other side.
Hello, this.
Oh, and I,
Oh, yeah.
I'll catch you. I'll catch you.
Hey, hello again.
Well, let's try it again. Hello.
Hello, we're not ready yet.
Just called to say hello. Okay. All right, enough Neil Diamond stuff. Let's get on to the real stuff.
3, 2, 1.
You get the yellow chair.
You get the
hot
yellow
seat.
hot seat. You're the man on. There we go.
All right.
And we're going to be covering
Fun.
the May 27th Truthermania.
Yeah.
Truther Mania, not Truth. Mania.
Brad, I'm actually gonna have you bring us back in.
Oh, I will?
Yeah, bring us
With
back
Chris
in, and then.
Oh, you're
we'll
gonna
go
have me
to
start
Chris. Yeah.
Okay, well, you want me to start with the Truther Mania?
Yeah.
Mania?
Truth or
thing?
yeah.
Okay.
Ya ba ba boo.
Okay, we're all
You
here.
here? You both ears? You good?
Truther
Yeah.
Mania. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Great mics make a difference.
No kidding.
What's it
All right.
about?
Okay. Ready?
Let's do this.
Alright, I'm Manny from Mirror Change East Bay, and I'm here with my friend Greg, and we're at the final segment. We're going to let Greg take the floor and lead us in.
Well, I think what this all comes down to is that we should not be spied on. And I don't see what this guy did wrong. So, it would all go back to, well, what documents did he actually leak, and what did he share with other newspapers or other countries, maybe, I guess. You know, what do you think is going to happen to this guy?
So basically what's going to happen to him in light of a good situation versus a bad, because there's several facets we can look at here.
Well, what do you
And
think?
one of
what do you think is gonna...
okay, so the positive outcome that I think is going to happen, Obama's going to pardon him. Congress is going to say this guy's a national hero for exposing a system that has been used against them, Congress. The system has been used against Congress. That's the main reason for the system
Do you think
being
that
put
they
into
were
place.
spying on Congress?
Oh,
members of
they
Congress?
spy on everyone. This gentleman, Edward
Edward Snowden.
Excuse me. Edward Snowden said that he had access to judges, federal court judges, even the president. He could listen to every single phone call in the entire world, literally, almost. I mean, depending on the circuit. If the circuit was connected into the grid, he had access to it. And looking at it from an IT perspective, as long as or even just an electric engineer perspective, if you have a circuit, whether it be, a few inches long or 1,000,000 miles long, it's still going to function as a circuit, and you can transmit and receive data and hear what's going on over the wire. So this worldwide system, if you look up this document, FAA 702 operation, 2 types of data collection, upstream and PRISM. PRISM is a program. Now this system is worldwide. And what these documents exposed was a worldwide system where it's literally turning the entire planet into this no rock, no cave, nowhere to hide system. There's nothing you could hide under, where it's just literally everything is tied into one system. Some Christian radicals are saying that it's the mark of the beast, and it's actually the devil in fruition, where the entire planet is going to become live and self-aware, and server will take over the planet. We're going off in a conspiracy wonderland here. But basically what this gentleman exposed in the documents is that Facebook, Skype, Yahoo, Google, all these servers that operate as quote-unquote independently operated corporations ran and owned by the public, publicly traded corporations that are owned by shareholders are not in collusion with the government. They're not working with the government. They have never given up any information according to what their testimony says.
Well, so
But the government has openly said that we're going to use your appliances to spy on you, and I know that sounds crazy, conspiracy wonderland, but if you look up General Petraeus' quote, I believe it was in 2009 or 2010, can't remember the exact date. I'm terrible with dates, but sometimes I'm good. But at this juncture, I'm terrible with dates. But check it out. Look it up. General Petraeus says we're going to use your appliances to spy on you. And if we look, I have an appliance right here
Well,
and another one
Yes.
that's actively spying on us. In the 1996 Telecommunications Act, it mandated that cell phones track your whereabouts, where you are, where the cell phone's at, you know, the GPS tracking
yeah,
system.
because you might need your government's help.
Right, and it also gave government access to activate the microphone and listen in. All in the name of safety, because if you get in a car crash and you're unconscious and you're lost in the middle of nowhere, you know, they need that GPS signal to...
How are they going to save you?
Well, how are they going to find your body? You know, so, again, we're talking about the PRISM system here, PRISM, but if you move the M to an N, it's, you know, it's pretty much a prison system, not prison, but it's more or less a prison system.
So do you
prison system
do you,
where you're under
do
maximum.
you think that he's gonna do jail time?
Okay, so scenario number 2, worst case scenario. Number 1 scenario, already laid it out.
Right.
He's gonna get pardoned. He's gonna be labeled a national hero, patriotic American, which he is, in the sense of whistleblowers should not
that'll
be
mean
persecuted
that
and
the
whistleblowing
president-
should not be a crime.
The president will have to do.
He would have to intervene. So
Something.
Obama, all these Obamanoids out there that support him.
They'll go
Where
after.
are you? I mean,
Who are
if
they
you blew
gonna
the
go
whistle
after,
at
these
work,
companies?
if you blew the whistle at work and you ended up going to jail rather than your company, wouldn't you be a little angered? I hear all these liberals talking about we hate corporations. So, United States Incorporated, Obama being the CEO. If you're really angry with the corporation right now, you should really question who's running the corporation of the United States and what they're doing with the corporation of the United States. Because the United States government oversees the infrastructure through the FCC, does that give them the right to tap and listen to every single message, transmission, every single piece of activity going across that wire? Because they're the ones that regulate it? Key word there. What does regulation mean? Are they regulating your speech? That's what it's become. In the sense of, well, we can't blow the whistle on someone committing a crime in government. So if there's people running a slave trade ring or a drug smuggling operation and you blew the whistle, then what, you get labeled as a terrorist? Is that what this is leading to? So if the leaks are fabricated, if the leaks are allowed to be let out and this guy's just another spook, let's just put all that aside and ask ourselves the real question. Should we be spied on? Should we allow any government, whether it be a government of angels or a government of demons,
No.
should they have the right to spy on you? And ask yourself that serious question. And it's like I said, just imagine this. Say you're anti-abortion. Say you're pro-abortion, for that matter. Because a lot of pro-abortion groups have been labeled as terrorists as well. So say you're pro-abortion and you're on the internet, and they have this PRISM system in place. And they're like, oh, well, you know, Susie Q. Jones and Harry Fitzgerald, Craig, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This person is looking at these types of websites. Well, they must be affiliated with the terrorist group. What if you're into animal activism? There's been numerous cases of animal activist groups blowing up things and trying to rescue the animals. So if you go onto the internet and you're being monitored, tracked, traced, and databased by the PRISM system, and they call you, oh, well, this guy's, you know, one of those animal rights people.
That's it.
It's basically this. When you go after one person's right to blow the whistle, you eliminate everyone's right to blow the whistle. And the same goes for free speech. Because eliminating someone's right to blow the whistle is a restriction against free speech. And free speech is one of our most held and cherished ideals here in the United States of America. And I still call it that, and I have faith that the United States Republic will someday be restored. We've already overcome the leaps and bounds of slavery, and we've recognized the mistakes. Why are we going to let ourselves go into a 1984 structure of tyranny and oppression when we've already fought so hard to get here? We were all oppressed. And people like you out there, I know you out there, you've been oppressed in one way or another, whether you're white, black, brown, purple. I mean, everyone always talks all this crap about, oh, well, whites own slaves. Well, you know what? Some of the first slaves were white. I'm not trying to take any sides here in race. Race is just the hustle. because they use that to keep us divided and fighting amongst each other. That's why the foundations invest so much money into race-based hatred and racial pimping. So again, it's up to you to think about it. There's a lot of things going down with the whole case, and if this leak is legit, and you're working with the New World Order, Secret Service, NSA, the Black Nobility, if you're working with them, and your mission is to damage control time, this is a legitimate leak. We're in the command center. We're in Virginia. We're in Utah. We're recording everything. We have this massive surveillance system going on. FISA wiretaps, the whole nine, Patriot Act, everything. And this gentleman, Edward Snowden, just leaks this out, and he's legit. Your only option is to paint it as COINTELPRO, or you have a few options. I'm not saying this is your only option, but one of the options is you paint this as COINTELPRO, you paint it in the media, because it's like Malcolm X said, what does the media do when they're painting someone as the bad guy, but they're really actually, making the bad guy who's really the good guy look bad, Well, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain it. I need to read the quote verbatim and make more sense of this.
They frame
But
it.
the bottom line is the media and the spin doctors, the prostitute corporate whores who are bought and paid for by the NSA and the CIA will spin this in a way where they look good, come out as the good guys. The first line here, and again, it's that whole Hegelian dialectic, the controlled opposition, to get you into thinking what you're supposed to think. The first thing it says, the criminal investigation. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I have done nothing wrong.
And the headline is, I have done nothing wrong. And the first
Should
sentence
there be
is,
a
the
criminal
criminal investigation.
So the whole question is, should there be a criminal investigation?
So the
When the question should really be, should the government be spying on us?
So the spin doctors have gone head first, just right into it. They're fighting hardcore. We don't know where it's gonna go. All I know is this: if it's legitimate, I'm gonna pray for the guy and pray for all of America at that, because if they silence one whistleblower, they silence everybody. And freedom of speech to me means more than being able to cuss in a rap song, because I love rap music and I cuss a lot, and I want to have the right to do that, but I also want people to have the right to call out crimes committed by a tyrannical regime or even their job. If the government makes this chilling effect, it's going to trickle down into the corporations, and people in the corporate atmosphere are going to be scared to blow the whistle because they're going to be afraid of a lawsuit. And the corporate fascist takeover of America that I've been talking about over all these years, it's going to happen. And I'm not coming off as some commie, because it's a communist takeover as well. They have aligned themselves with the fascists. The communists and the fascists always turn into just basically fascists. Authoritarianist command and control structures, which can be defined as that. Regardless of however you want to create the structure, it all leads to the government regulating every single aspect of your life. And that's what the United States is turning into, a government that is getting its fingers into every single aspect of your life. And the number one way to do that is to destroy your privacy. But again, people ain't going to see it. They're just going to say, I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm all good, there's nothing to worry about, I'm not going to fight it, I'm just going to take it. They can look at my bank account records, they can see every single shop that I visited, they can see every single phone number I've dialed, they can see every single transaction, whatever, it doesn't matter. So again, I leave it up to you, the viewer, to make your own decision on the whole Edward Snowden case. I already know I'm going to get a lot of hate. Even people in the truther movement are already coming out saying, hey Manny, you're taking the bait again, you're just, you're being a sucker. Just like Bradley Manning suckered you in, and the way Julian Assange suckered you in. You're supporting him. No, I've never said that I 100% support Julian Assange. And one thing I will say about Julian Assange, his dismissal of the 9/11 truth thing is a completely separate topic from people blowing the whistle and trying to get crimes of government exposed. Dismissing 9/11, that's whatever, that's a whole nother side debate, but blowing the whistle on governments of crime, that should never be a crime. know I said crime a lot.
Sure.
But that's what it is. It's a criminal regime. Speaking truth in the empire of lies is an act of treason. So we're in that situation. We're in that current state of affairs here in the United States of freedom. The land of the free and the home of the brave.